We all have these early moments of embarrassment when we first started something that we are fully unaware of. So, for this video, I will gladly and openly share to you some of the dumbest mistakes that I did when I started as an entrepreneur. Hopefully, you can learn a thing or two from it, so you'll know what to do when you are to start your business. So the first one on the list is that I tried to become a CEO president too early. I also attempt to plan too much too soon. So when I say Tesla, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Isn't that Elon Musk? How about Facebook? Zuckerberg? So when I asked myself, what comes to mind first when I hear the word entrepreneur? I quickly said, sales. Technically, if you don't know how to sell, you're not an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur must master the fundamentals of selling first. Because if you don't understand what salespeople do on a daily basis, you won't be able to connect with them or the customer. So my biggest mistake my first year was attempting to be too much of a business owner rather than learning how to sell first and survive based on my selling abilities to make money as a salesperson. Next one is trying to take advice from too many people. Let me explain what I mean by getting advice from too many individuals. If you're not pregnant yet, everybody wants to give you advice. They say, do this, do that, take this, and take that. It worked for me, so it must work for you. You see, everyone has their opinions, but this doesn't mean they're wrong. And it doesn't mean they're right. And here's where I went wrong. Instead of simplifying who has the life that I desire and what they are doing at the stage that I was in business, I had to take advice from so many people. Thus, heed advice from people who have lived the life you don't. Ask them how they did and what they did when they were starting out at your level. Not at their level, since that would be meaningless. So seek advice from established business owners. Don't take advice from too many people. That will only give you a hard time choosing what's best and what works for you. Third, trying to sell too many products as an entrepreneur. I recall well the day when I was so close to selling so many various things. However, after reading the book Blue Ocean Strategy, I learned to focus on fewer, or one product. And after that, I implemented that strategy and I made the right decision. But I was this close to selling many different products instead of being focused on a single product. The challenge as an entrepreneur arises while deciding on an industry. There will be booms in a variety of industries. Whatever you select, there will always be a more enticing industry. And other industries appear dull because there are few potential clients. Nonetheless, even a dull business may provide cash if you focus on it and become a master of it. Remember, in business, it's better to master one than to master none. So I advise you to not sell too many things. Instead, concentrate on one product and in one industry. Next, not knowing how to ask for advice. Because you're an employee aspiring to be an entrepreneur, there are occasions when you don't listen to their advice. When an employee is instructed what to do, they go do it. Nobody asks, so how do you think I can become a better employee? Rather, most employees would say, ugh, I don't like this place. And then boom, they leave. So when you go from employee to entrepreneur, your mindset hasn't switched yet to asking for help. As an entrepreneur, you must understand how to get advice from the correct individuals. Don't ask someone how he made $200,000 in 1 month. Rather, ask him how he increased his salary from, say, $3,000 per month. Next in line is that I almost quit. I almost believe I couldn't do this. I almost believe being an entrepreneur wasn't for me. So I almost gave up. I almost believe the people telling me that business is not my thing. Luckily, I managed to transcend beyond their opinions. Before we jump into the next one, please subscribe to our channel first so I can know if you're still enjoying this video. Done? Okay, let's proceed to point number 6. Point number 6. I try to force, then influence. I attempt to push too hard. I put too much pressure on my clients, my employees, and my sales force. My first year was spent pressuring individuals rather than influencing them. It's almost as if you're attempting to manage everyone's success rather than leaving them alone. Finally, I told myself that I needed to set a good example, and that lifted a burden from my shoulders since it was purely influential. It was more about setting an example than saying, "You better do this, you best do that now." It was more about, "Here's what I did, here's what I'm doing, this is what's working for me. Now here's what I request." I had to learn from a ton of mistakes on going from force to influence, and from managing to just leading and setting an example. 7. Living the dream too early. When I started the business, I made some serious cash. So I went out and bought a brand new car, making a large car payment while driving everyone around. I recall spending $5,000 in 1 week despite not having that amount of money in my bank account. But I was wasting boldly anyhow, believing that money would come from future successes and sales. But all was gone one day. That's what occurred when I attempted to live my dream too early. Actually, spending money to show others that your life is expanding is not a terrible thing. However, I do not believe that living the dream too soon is helpful, because at the end of the day, the most important rule of business is to stay in business. You must ensure that you remain in business. And for you to do that, you need to save cash as much as possible. The next one is not knowing the value of a business plan. Now, most of you would think of a business plan as a blueprint of your company that has to be 50 pages long. And that is what I thought during my first year. But as time passed, I realized that the real contents of a business plan should be actionable items and habits to learn and apply every day. For instance, I need to collect 100 leads for this day. I have to make 200 calls tomorrow. I have to connect with 30 people on Facebook. I need to read for an hour. I have to learn a new skill. Things like these ones are the real business plan, not a 50-page boring stuff. Unfortunately, I've seen hundreds of kids coming out of big universities writing business plans, 70 pages, as entrepreneurs who failed and are working at somebody right now for nothing. So create an actionable business plan where you can enhance yourself. A business plan that will be on a daily to improve your mindset and self-affirmation. For number 9, thinking I knew it all. I mean, I literally thought I understood everything when I first started in business. I would have been so upset coaching myself back then, since I believed I knew everything. Then, there was a period when I was on the edge of losing my company. than the remark of Socrates, "All I know is that I know nothing." It struck me. If the greatest brains on the deathbeds are stating such things, who am I to presume I know everything? So the attitude of believing you know it all is not one you want to be in, since it implies that advancements and improvements are not around the corner. At the end of the day, even the most intelligent person on the planet has to learn something. So be the person that is constantly eager to learn new things. Last is not having a schedule and an entrepreneurial mindset. Having no schedule means having no direction. Think of it as a light that will guide your actions throughout a certain period of time. Without it, you'll be lost. Like what happened to me before when I was bombarded with so many tasks because I failed to rank them according to their importance. Reason? I did not make a schedule. So I advise you to create a schedule and stick to it, and punish yourself if you fail to follow it. Also, when I first started being an entrepreneur, I thought to myself that I can act like a boss. That means I can do whatever I want and I can come to work whenever I want. And that mindset nearly caused my business to fall. Now, when you become an entrepreneur, no one's gonna hold you accountable for your actions. No one would ask where you were during this hour, or why did you say this stuff during the meeting? So you need to become a boss with an employee mindset. What do I mean by that? Whenever you do something, ask yourself, if I were to do this as an employee, would my boss be happy about it? By having this question in mind, you'll be more accountable for your own doing, and possibly prompted to create the right actions. And that's all the embarrassing things that I did during my infant years as an entrepreneur. How about you? Do you have moments like these when you first started your business? Talk them out in the comment section below, and we'll try to read them. That's it for this video. To stay updated, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks, and bye!